I met someone I shouldn't have met. When they called my name, my spine froze. The teacher said it was the teacher at the cram school my son went to. I felt my blood go cold all at once. This is bad. My husband will find out. My name is 40 years old. I married my husband, who is a senior at the company, when I was 25. He is a senior, but I was just a temporary worker at the reception desk and my husband was a hardworking salesman. We sat next to each other at a drinking party in the car, and that's how we started dating and got married. The castle was also changing with the generation, so I was a young girl, and I followed my husband's advice. I quit my temporary job. About a year after getting married, I got pregnant and had a son. My husband was always busy. Working overtime and going on business trips was the norm, and he was almost always doing everything on his own during the weekdays. But he took good care of our son on his days off, so I had no complaints about him. It may sound presumptuous of me to say this, but my son started talking early, and by the time he was in kindergarten, he was already studying at the level of a primary school senior. Apparently, he had a high IQ. At the kindergarten he attended at the time, everyone was talking about local primary schools. I wasn't very interested, but one of my son's close friends was taking the exam, and my son said he wanted to take the exam too. My husband is also a third-generation student, and then the exam war began in earnest for my son. I was busy every day taking my son to and from cram school and other lessons. He is still in kindergarten, so I couldn't let him ride the train alone, and no matter how sick I was, I never missed taking him to and from school. My son passed the exam, but once he entered elementary school, the junior high school entrance exam was waiting for him. What was mentally tough was interacting with friends. Everyone was smiling, but we were trying to figure out each other's grades. To be honest, I was a Walden, but I had to work hard for my son, so I made myself old and spent 6 years like that. And my son passed the entrance exam for a full-scale second-hand light beam and was able to leave home. At that time, I felt more relieved than lonely. From then on, my husband and I started living together. My husband was still busy, spending more time at the office than at home and going on business trips. But my son's tuition fees were quite expensive, so my husband worked hard. Now I spent more time alone at home. I had no motivation, and I didn't have any hobbies. I thought I might go out and get a job. While I was searching the internet, I saw a nearby cafe looking for a waiter. The stop time was about 4 hours, mostly during lunchtime, so it wouldn't interfere with preparing dinner. I went to a cafe to see what the atmosphere was like. At the entrance of the cafe, there was a flyer advertising part-time work. I was looking closely at the flyer to check the conditions, when someone called out to me from behind. "Aranako, are you planning to do some part-time work?" "My mom friend Mika, your son has left school and you're really bored." "I'm the same. I miss our busy days." I went to the cafe with Mika and we had a good time for the first time in a while. "Hey, what do you do every day, Mika?" "Well, I don't need to work. I don't have any money, so I don't think I'd go to work without thinking about it. Actually, this is just between you and me, but I'm killing time by going to group dates." Group dates, even though I'm married, are old. Nowadays, there are group dates for married people. The purpose isn't to cheat or anything, but to feel a little excited or to reminisce about when you were younger, and it really adds excitement to your life. It's obvious that married people have ulterior motives at group dates, but Mika certainly shone brightly. This time, Nanako also seemed to be just trying to make friends. I was a little interested, but politely declined. When I got home and looked it up on the internet, there were a lot of articles about married group dates, just as Mika said. When I saw them, my interest grew. I started to feel like I wanted to participate at least once, but I didn't have the courage to participate alone, so I contacted Mika. The date for the matchmaking party was decided immediately, and I told my husband that it was a meeting to exchange information with other mommy friends, and we went to the matchmaking party. She had booked out a small restaurant, and there were only 10 men and 10 women, so it was a small event. The men all looked gentlemanly and wealthy, and the women also had a sparkling aura about them. They were so beautifully decorated that I wondered if they were really married. I was so nervous that I stumbled over my self-introduction, but everyone gave me appropriate comments, and I was impressed that they weren't as pushy as they were when they were younger. It was the first time since I got married that I drank with a man other than my husband. I was also happy that the man praised me smartly and without exaggeration. There was no arrangement to become a couple or anything like that. On the way home, we all exchanged line IDs and the party ended. How was it? My first married party was exciting and really fun. It definitely adds excitement to my life. But I should tell you, it's no good if it's just the two of us. You really need to be careful about that. It's not like there aren't any dangerous people, you know. And so my days of married partying began. Of course, I kept it a secret from my husband. No matter how many people we had, we drank together. I don't think it's a good idea to just drink, so I decided to enjoy myself by myself. At that time, I never thought that the day would come when I would break a taboo. I applied for the 5th matchmaking party after searching the internet myself. The good reviews were reassuring, but I met someone there that I shouldn't have met. When my name was called, my spine froze. Teacher, that was the teacher from the cram school my son attended. My blood went cold all at once. Damn, my husband will find out. Don't make such a scary face. We're in the same position, so why are you here, teacher? I just want to let loose once in a while, and the exam season is over, so Naoto and I ended up sharing a secret. Naoto knows my husband, and Naoto's wife is also a teacher at the same cram school, so I know his wife too. That secret brought us closer together. We started to keep in touch frequently even after the mixer was over. It's definitely taboo, as Mika-san said, but we're acquaintances and Takashi understands. And so Naoto and I entered into a relationship that couldn't be turned back. We usually met outside, but when my husband came out, he started inviting Naoto over to his house. My husband claims that it's 34 days, but Naoto can only stay over for 1 day at most. He often drinks too much and comes home in the morning, and his wife doesn't say anything about it. But he can't do 200, so he stops at once a month. My mind and body are excited by the guilt and concern for my husband. By this time, I no longer go to group dates. The two of us are excited and thrilled. Mika invited me several times, but I refused with some excuse. But this was a big hole. After about 6 months of my relationship with Naoto, Mika called me. Recently, he hasn't been going out with me at all. Well, I guess I'm a bit hesitant about my husband. Maybe I could meet a nice guy. No way, there's no one like that. I had a bad feeling about it, but we were both going to the mixer. But something had changed for Mika. That day, her husband was on a 5-day business trip, and she invited Nao over to her house for the first time in a month. Tana had a class, so she came because her husband had gone to Naga. They drank together during the day and took a bath together in the evening. It was a bit tiring, but I thought this was the place where Nao would feel the most. Just then, a figure was reflected on the frosted glass. It couldn't be a thief. Panicking, Nao and I grabbed the wash basin and cleaning brush and prepared to fight. Then the door slowly opened, and I was so shocked I lost my balance. Then Naoto cried out. There was my husband, standing upright like a demon. Why are you here? My husband beat Naoto and dragged him out, and Naoto was thrown out naked into the hallway. Panicked, I tried to run away in a shameless state, but my husband had me firmly in his arms. In a case that was already over, it was an active arrest. I couldn't even make excuses. But why did my husband come home so early? Maybe it was a trap? I'm divorcing you now. Get out right now. Wait a minute, I've known all this time. In fact, it seems my husband didn't know about my relationship with Nao until recently. But someone apparently tipped him off. It was Mika. But if she did something like this, even Mika would find out that her husband had told her she'd been going to a mixer. Would she go out of her way to do something like that? Even a married girl likes this. It makes me laugh. If it was Mika, she'd have found out and gotten divorced. That's why Mika dragged me down with her. I'm sure she knew about Nao too. A woman's jealousy is a scary thing. Even though she was the one who invited him. My life is over. I know it's my own fault, but I was shaking with anger at being betrayed. I had also betrayed my husband. After that, Naoto and I were forced to divorce each other. My husband asked for 3 million yen in alimony and child support, and his wife also asked for 3 million yen. Naoto and I didn't have a son, so we each got 3 million yen. I know it was 100% my fault, but I wanted to at least see my son's face one last time, but that didn't happen. Apparently my son refused. All I had left was the 6 million yen payment. I wasn't allowed to go back to my parents' house, and I started living with Naoto. Naoto was fired from the cram school and looked for another one, but perhaps because rumors were circulating, he couldn't get hired anywhere. However, we both had to pay a total of 12 million yen, and our future looked bleak. However, about 6 months after the divorce, Naoto and I remarried. We decided to pay the alimony together. I worked at a company, working multiple jobs from morning until night, and doing physical labor that I was not used to. However, God did not forgive me. Naoto was in a traffic accident and could no longer work. Moreover, it was Naoto who ran out at a red light. At that time, I received some money from the man, but for the time being, I will have to pay the alimony alone. I feel that the phrase, "what goes around comes around," was created for me. Thank you for watching until the end. Please look forward to the next episode.